The lucrative emerging markets of the high-valued bio-based industry has contributed to the growing expansion of seaweed farming. The world seaweed market value in 2023 reached $16.7 billion and is projected to reach $30.2 billion in 2033. As a maritime country with 70% of its area covered by water, Indonesia has great potential for developing seaweed farming. Currently, Indonesia ranks as the world's second-largest producer of seaweed. To utilize the natural potential of seaweed, the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of the Republic of Indonesia has developed the Seaweed Cultivation Modeling Program. The strategy of this program is to build a national downstream seaweed industry and improve farmers' welfare. The program implements an integrated area-based management approach from upstream to downstream to increase upstream production with high-quality harvest and ensure the sustainability of the seaweed ecosystem. The first seaweed cultivation modeling program was launched in Wakatobi Regency, Southeast Sulawesi Province, and will be followed by 4 other locations in the near future. We're supporting facilities such as tissue culture seaweed seed production unit, seaweed starter garden, seaweed nursery, and floating offshore farms. The Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries is ready to expand the seaweed industry, boost its production, and become the world's largest producer of seaweed.
Soul of our ocean. Let's think of our ocean with a vision for tomorrow, to avoid losses and nightmares, steering humanity far from sorrow. Think on for the marine ecosystem's defense and the prosperity of coastal states. Think on for the world's citizen to enjoy blue skies and healthy oceans in every place. A deep sense of duty and responsibility profound. A strong concern to keep the ocean dreams safe and sound. It is our generation's task to work together hand in hand. We stand strong now and forever. Our languages are diverse, yet our sea traverses. Hands together, we shall wisely plan the marine universe to sustain ecosystem in the vast and boundless sea, for healthier oceans and strong maritime economy, for equitable distributions of prosperity among countries. A life more beautiful and full of charm shall be a global decree. Marine spatial planning is no mere dream, but sacred scheme. It should be an accord sincere, navigating stakeholders with differing perspectives in sight, overcoming dialogue that disperses, bringing it into a harmonious light. towards a future maritime dream, from the ocean's southern flow to its northern stream, from the eastern to the western hemisphere. Let's respect our maritime spatial planning.
Indonesia, 17.000 pulau terhampar luas, seperti berlian yang berserak di Khatulistiwa. Ombak membelai dengan lembut, ikan-ikan menari dalam harmoni. Diberkahi keragaman hayati, menghiasi lautan yang membentang luas di seluruh Indonesia. Lautan lebih dari sekedar pemandangan indah yang harus dilindungi. Di sini, jutaan orang menggantungkan hidup kepada ombak. Perahu-perahu kecil melaut dengan harapan, merajut kisah di lautan yang mengalir mengikuti arus. Senyum kecil warga pesisir yang memetik manfaat dari laut membuat kita berpikir untuk terus menjaganya. Tantangan selalu ada. Perubahan iklim menghentak lautan dan daratan. Pemanasan global membuat alam menjerit. Berbicara dan bertindak adalah tanggung jawab kita bersama. Alam pun bersinergi dengan karbon birunya, menjaga harapan untuk masa depan. Dengan berani, kita melangkah maju menuju masa depan yang lebih biru. Membuat alam tersenyum dengan menambah kawasan konservasi laut. Membuat alam seimbang dengan penangkapan ikan yang bijaksana. Membuat alam lestari dengan budidaya yang berkelanjutan. Kita adalah penjaga, mengawasi dan mengelola kawasan pesisir agar bumi bisa terus memberikan kebaikan kepada kita. Kita adalah penebar kebaikan, memberikan jejak kebaikan untuk alam dengan membersihkan sampah plastik di lautan. Karena kita adalah masa depan yang menerangi harapan di setiap pandangan mata. Indonesia, negeri yang selalu memanjakan mata dengan keindahannya. Negeri yang selalu ada untuk menghidupi seluruh isinya. Negeri yang menjadi rumah bagi kita hari ini, esok, dan nanti. Mari kita berlayar lebih jauh untuk menjaga laut kita dengan ekonomi biru untuk Indonesia Emas.
Imagine
The vastness of the Indonesian Ocean stretch among thousands of islands with its immense coastline, displaying the beauty and the richness of nature it possesses. The great economic potential of its marine and coastal resources. Imagine if we can utilize the resources wisely. With a Blue Economy program, we can create ecological and economic balance by preserving the ocean health and speeding up the growth of a sustainable marine economy. One way to achieve this is through the development of sustainable aquaculture that can simultaneously increase fish production while preserving the fish population in the ocean. With its abundant natural resources, Indonesia holds a massive potential in aquaculture. Therefore, the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries aims to improve aquaculture production primarily for its 5 leading commodities. One of them is the development of region-based modeling aquaculture, such as integrated shrimp farming in Kebumen, the seaweed farming modeling in Wakatobi, the saline tilapia farming in Karawang, as well as the development of aquaculture villages. This development of modeling areas and aquaculture villages applies sustainability principles based on the latest science and technology by revitalizing traditional fish ponds into more modern forms of aquaculture and maintaining production quality by providing guidelines for the ethical use of farming areas, educating on efficient water management, and encouraging the use of environment-friendly fish feed. All of these aim to improve the quality and value of sustainable aquaculture production. To guarantee product quality and safety, the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries applies several certifications such as CBIB, or Good Aquaculture Practices, CPIB, or Good Fish Hatcheries, CPPIB, or Good Fish Feed Manufacturing, and CPOIB, or Good Method for Making Fish Medicines, to ensure the standards in managing aquaculture. Aside from that, the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries runs a strict quality assurance procedures to ensure the products of aquaculture are free from harmful substances and diseases. The Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries also conducts routine surveillance from overseeing the permits and legislations to implementation of the aquaculture practices to ensure the sustainability and preserve the natural marine and fishery resources. The Ministry of Marine and Fisheries does not solely focus on strengthening the upstream elements, but also on the downstream of aquaculture production to maximize the potential of fisheries sector in Indonesia. Encourage the processing of raw aquaculture products to improve product quality and competitiveness in the global market and increase the value of Indonesian fishery exports. Because Indonesia has the potential to become a champion in global aquaculture sector, becoming the largest aquaculture producer in the world. With sustainable aquaculture, we can preserve the ocean, and by doing so, we also preserve our future towards a better, fulfilling, and abundant life. Let us sail beyond with Blue Economy to preserve our ocean for golden Indonesia.
Now you can proceed to your seat. The event will begin shortly. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, and good morning ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Coral Triangle Initiative on Coral Reefs, Fisheries and Food Security, and the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, I am honored to welcome you all to the media gathering celebrating the 16th anniversary of CTI-CFF and Coral Triangle Day 2025. Can we hear a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Wonderful, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are deeply honored by the presence of our distinguished guest, His Excellency Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Sakti Wahyu Trenggono. Good morning, sir. Good morning to His Excellency Ambassador of Papua New Guinea, Mr. Simon Namis. Good morning. Would like to also welcome the Secretary General, Director Generals, Head of Agencies, Senior Advisors of the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, distinguished representative of the 66 countries in Jakarta, Executive Director of the CTI-CFF Regional Secretariat, Dr. Frank Keith Griffin. Good morning. Deputy Executive Director of Corporate Services, CTI-CFF Regional Secretariat, Mr. Hanung Cahyono. Would like to also welcome all the representatives of the media, representatives from partner organizations, NGOs, and donor agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today. Kindly be informed that this event is being photographed and recorded. By remaining in the venue, you consent to the use of your image, voice, or likeness in any media coverage, including videos, photos, and live streams for promotional and documentation purposes. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your understanding and cooperation regarding this. To begin today's gathering, we are pleased to invite Deputy Executive Director of Corporate Services, CTI-CFF Regional Secretariat, Mr. Hanung Cahyono, to deliver his opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Hanung Cahyono.
for tourism or national economies of our welfare. Let me stress, those actions must accurate. Because the coral triangle is not only a global epicenter of marine life, it is front line of climate change, a front line for food security, a front line for the survival of millions of coastal families who depend on healthy ocean, especially healthy of coral system. The theme of this year's Coral Triangle Day, One Triangle Infinite Beauty, remarks us not just of a natural wonder of the waters, but of the cultures, of the peoples, also the shared stories. So we were born together, not just by geography, but by purpose through our ocean. We are not starting from the zero. We have foundation. We have the RPOA 2.0. We have National Plan of Action. And so we have the will, and we have each other. But we needed to scale up. We need to set up and count it. And also, I stand before you with a clear call. We need to do more to realize our shared goals and aspirations. I call upon our development partners to come and join us in protecting this beautiful and most amazing triangle of natural infinite beauty. This is no time for complacency. CTI-CFF is turning up the volume. The threat to our ocean are escalating, and so must our response. We are calling on government, donors, partners, media, youth, and every citizen to step up and scale up. We must do more. We must act faster. We must act now. So let us make the Coral Triangle Day 2025 not just a moment of pride, but a moment of real progress. Let us, this 66th anniversary, be a turning point. Let Coral Triangle Day 2025 be the moment the world listens and act. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Hanung Cahyono, for a very warm opening remarks. The Coral Triangle is more than a place. It is a living mosaic of life, culture, and connection. Let's support this initiative to protect our oceans and communities together. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next session, let us hear the keynote speech from His Excellency Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Sakti Wahyu Trenggono. To Mr. Sakti, the stage is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, selamat pagi. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Yang saya hormati, Executive Director Regional Secretariat CTI-CFF, Mr. Frank Kate Griffin, perwakilan Kedutaan Negara Anggota CTI-CFF, Vice Consul Ms. Marikar Yambau, Philippine Embassy Tania Wickham, Charge d'Affaires at Interim Solomon Island Embassy, Mr. Fakhrul Arifin Muhammad, Zulkifli, First Secretary Economy on behalf of Excellency Dato Syed Muhammad Hasim, Tengku Hussein, Ambassador Simon Namis from Papua New Guinea, pejabat eselon 1 dan 2 lingkup Kementerian Kelautan dan Perikanan, perwakilan dari Kementerian Koordinator Bidang Pangan, Kementerian Bappenas, Kementerian Luar Negeri, Kementerian Lingkungan Hidup dan Badan Riset Inovasi Nasional, perwakilan dari perguruan tinggi dan mitra kerja CTI-CFF serta para pers media yang hadir dalam acara media gathering hari ini. Saya selaku Ketua Dewan Menteri Coral Triangle Initiative on Coral Reefs, Fisheries and Food Security menyampaikan terima kasih kepada Bapak dan Ibu yang hadir pada kesempatan hari ini. Media gathering dalam rangka memperingati 16 tahun CTI-CFF atau Prakarsa Segitiga Karang untuk terumbu karang, perikanan dan ketahanan pangan, serta mempromosikan Coral Triangle Day tahun 2025 pada tanggal 9 Juni mendatang. Bagi Indonesia, CTI-CFF memiliki arti penting dan strategis sebagai negara yang berbagi sekitar 65% wilayahnya masuk dalam Coral Triangle Area. Indonesia bisa dikatakan sebagai jantung CTI-CFF. Tentunya dengan proporsi tersebut, potensi dan tantangan yang dihadapi Indonesia serupa dengan CTI-CFF. Indonesia merupakan tempat bersejarah CTI-CFF secara resmi dideklarasikan pada Leader Summit CTI tahun 2009 oleh 6 kepala negara dari Indonesia, Malaysia, Filipina, Papua New Guinea, Kepulauan Solomon dan Timor Leste. Dalam momen bersejarah tersebut, Indonesia ditetapkan sebagai negara tuan rumah Sekretariat Regional CTI-CFF. Tentunya sebagai tuan rumah, kami memastikan dukungan untuk tujuan dan operasional Sekretariat Regional CTI-CFF. Coral Triangle merupakan kawasan geografis laut tropis yang diakui secara global sebagai pusat keanekaragaman hayati laut dunia. Kawasan ini tidak hanya penting secara ekologis, tetapi juga secara sosial dan ekonomi, karena wilayah ini juga merupakan pusat perikanan tropis dunia dan jalur penting transformasi laut dan perdagangan internasional. Kawasan yang menyerupai segitiga dan mencakup perairan dan pesisir dari 6 negara anggota CTI-CFF, yaitu Indonesia, Malaysia, Filipina, Timor Leste, Papua New Guinea, Kepulauan Solomon memiliki keistimewaan karena menyimpan lebih dari 76% spesies terumbu karang dunia, yaitu sekitar lebih dari 600 spesies. Habitat bagi lebih dari 2.000 spesies ikan karang, area penting bagi spesies laut terancam punah seperti penyu laut, hiu karang, dan duyung, serta mendukung kehidupan lebih dari 120 juta orang yang bergantung pada sumber daya laut dan pesisir. Laut Indonesia yang sebagian besar berada di kawasan segitiga karang mempunyai fungsi strategis karena mempengaruhi iklim dunia dan memiliki keanekaragaman hayati ikan dan biota laut yang sangat melimpah. Potensi dan tantangan perairan Indonesia memiliki kesamaan dengan kawasan segitiga karang yang memerlukan upaya pelindungan dan pengelolaan yang berkelanjutan. Adanya aktivitas manusia dan eksploitasi yang tidak bertanggung jawab, bencana perubahan iklim, destructive fishing dan overfishing, serta pencemaran laut yang disebabkan sampah plastik akan mengancam potensi keberlanjutan sumber daya laut. Karenanya, untuk pengelolaan berkelanjutan potensi kelautan dan perikanan, kami mengimplementasikan 5 kebijakan ekonomi biru, yaitu memperluas kawasan konservasi laut, penangkapan ikan terukur berbasis kuota, pengembangan perikanan budidaya di laut, pesisir dan darat yang berkelanjutan, pengawasan dan pengendalian kawasan pesisir dan pulau-pulau kecil, dan yang kelima, pembersihan sampah plastik di laut melalui gerakan partisipasi nelayan atau Bulan Cinta Laut. Kebijakan ekonomi biru juga mempunyai peran strategis dalam pembangunan nasional, mendukung visi yaitu bersama Indonesia Maju menuju Indonesia Emas 2045 melalui 8 asta-cita Bapak Presiden Prabowo untuk mencapai triple win, yaitu pertumbuhan ekonomi 8%, penurunan kemiskinan menuju 0%, dan peningkatan kualitas sumber daya manusia. Pelaksanaan kebijakan ekonomi biru sektor kelautan dan perikanan menuju Indonesia Emas 2045 merupakan kerja besar dan diperlukan upaya akselerasi program prioritas, sinergitas, dan integritas melalui kerjasama. Membangun jaringan kerjasama dan kemitraan dengan berbagai pihak menjadi suatu keharusan dan mengoptimalkan untuk mendukung pencapaian target dan tujuan menuju Indonesia Emas 2045. Pelaksanaan kebijakan ekonomi biru ini sejalan dengan Regional Plan of Action 2.0 tahun 2020-2030 yang mendorong pencapaian keseimbangan antara konservasi ekosistem laut dan pemanfaatan berkelanjutan sumber daya laut untuk mendukung kesejahteraan masyarakat pesisir dan ketahanan pangan. Pengelolaan kawasan konservasi laut perikanan berkelanjutan dan pengurangan tekanan terhadap ekosistem terumbu karang. Hal ini sejalan dengan prinsip ekonomi biru yang mengedepankan pemanfaatan sumber daya laut yang berkelanjutan secara ekonomi dan ekologis. Penguatan kerjasama kolaboratif antara kerjasama lintas negara pada RPOA 20 menyediakan kerangka kerja kolaboratif regional yang mendorong pertukaran data, praktek terbaik dan proyek bersama antar negara anggota CTI-CFF. Inovasi pendanaan berkelanjutan, salah satu tantangan pengelolaan sumber daya berkelanjutan adalah pendanaan yang mendorong kita untuk menciptakan inovasi pendanaan pengelolaannya. Untuk inovasi pendanaan, saya ingin berbagi upaya yang sedang kami lakukan, yaitu 2 contoh inovasi pendanaan Indonesia Coral Reef Bond dan Debt for Nature Swap, the Tropical Forest and Coral Reef Conservation. Indonesia Coral Reef Bond merupakan coral bond, yaitu instrumen pendanaan yang berasal bukan dari pihak pemerintah dan bukan hutang, serta risiko ditanggung oleh Bank Dunia yang diperuntukkan mendukung peningkatan efektivitas pengelolaan kawasan konservasi yang diukur menggunakan standar IUCN Green List. Debt for Nature Swap, the Tropical Forest and Coral Reef Conservation merupakan kebijakan skema pengalihan utang negara berkembang untuk dana konservasi lingkungan atau Debt for Nature Swap. Dalam hal ini terumbu karang di bawah Undang-Undang TFCCA pemerintah Amerika Serikat. Saya mengapresiasi agenda hari ini untuk melihat kilas balik capaian penting CTI-CFF selama 16 tahun terakhir dan rencana Coral Triangle Day 2025 dengan tema One Triangle Infinite Beauty. Satu segitiga keindahan tak terbatas. Mari kita pastikan kelestarian kawasan segitiga karang sebagai keindahan dan anugerah terindah untuk dunia. Terima kasih. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Sakti Wahyu Trenggono, Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of the Republic of Indonesia, for the welcoming remarks and the keynote speech. To Mr. Sakti, please remain on your position as we'd like to have a group photo in front of the table. So we're going to invite all the videographers and all the photographers to come on stage and take the best picture for today's event. We'd like to also invite all ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guests, to please stand up and join us for the photo session. You can give your biggest smile, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare yourself as we'd like to have the photo group. The first pose would be a formal pose. Okay, are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, everyone please stand up. Okay. Okay, we're gonna wait for another photographers here. Okay. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, cheers! Okay, Indonesia Tangguh, everyone, with your hands, with the fist of your hands, in 3, 2, 1, cheers! Okay, let's give a big round of applause once again to Media Gathering 16th anniversary of CTI-CFF and Coral Triangle Day 2025, One Triangle Infinite Beauty. Once again, we'd like to thank Mr. Sakti Wahyu Trenggono for a remarkable opening remarks and keynote speech. As he mentioned earlier, that the potential of Indonesia's marine and fisheries sector is very, very huge. However, there are many challenges we are facing right now, leading to 5 major policies from Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of the Republic of Indonesia. Together, we advance Indonesia towards Indonesia Emas 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, after this, we will have a panel discussion inviting 2 remarkable panelists and will be led by our special moderator. But before that, we'd like to have a little fun, and to keep the energy high, we would like to invite you to join us for a fun and interactive segment. It is quiz time. Okay, for the quiz time, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to present you an engagement quiz, a short interactive session where you will have the chance to answer questions related to today's theme. And yes, there are prizes to be won. But before that, we'd like to thank Mr. Sakti Wahyu Trenggono, His Excellency Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of the Republic of Indonesia. Thank you so much for your presence, for your time, for your valuable support to this event. Once again, thank you so much, and please take care of yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain on your seat as we'd like to move on to the next session. Before we have a quiz session, we will have a panel discussion, and we will explore key milestones, partnerships, and regional efforts in conserving the Coral Triangle in 6 different areas. This session marks 2 important moments. The first one is the official launch of the CTI-CFF 2024 annual report. And the next one is the unveiling of the Coral Triangle Day 2025 campaign under the theme One Triangle, Infinite Beauty. We are honored to have with us today our distinguished panelists. And to guide today's discussion, we will have our special moderator, Mr. Hendra Yusran Siri PhD, Senior Advisor to Minister on Ecology and Marine Resources Affairs, focal point of the National Coordinating Committee of CTI-CFF Indonesia. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to our moderator, Mr. Hendra Yusran Siri PhD. Okay, but before we invite our moderator and our panelists, ladies and gentlemen, as I promised that we will have a quiz time where we will ask you some question, and this is a chance for you to answer the questions correctly. And yes, of course, there are prizes to be won. The quizzes would be about the theme of today's event on the media gathering celebrating the 16th anniversary of CTI-CFF and Coral Triangle Day 2025. So here is how it will work. I will ask a few questions, and if you know the answer, please raise your hand quickly. Once selected, please state your answers correctly. If correct, you will receive a small token of appreciation from us. Are you ready for the quiz session? Oh, I can't hear you. Are you ready? Now that's the spirit. Okay, we will start with the first question. And I believe that the answer is somewhere here on the stage, so please pay attention. The first question is, I'm sorry, gentlemen, you cannot answer the questions. Okay, the first question is, how many countries make up to the Coral Triangle Initiative? Wow, okay. There are so many people raising their hands right now, but I think the first one who raised a hand is the gentleman right there. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to answer the question. What's your name, sir?
Hello, my name is Ardan.
Mr. Ardan, okay, how many countries make up to the Coral Triangle Initiatives?
I think it is 6.
6. Can you name them all?
The first one, Indonesia.
Of course, Indonesia.
Second, Malaysia.
Yes, Malaysia.
The third is PNG, Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea, correct?
Philippines.
The Philippines and 2
Solomon.
more left. Solomon Islands. And last one?
Timor-Leste.
Timor-Leste. Wonderful. Thank you so much. You've answered correctly 6 countries. Indonesia, Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines, Solomon Islands, and Timor-Leste. Thank you so much. And please receive the token of appreciation from CTI-CFF. Okay, we still have another token of appreciation to all of you who can answer my questions. Okay, this is not hard, I believe, yeah? What does CTI-CFF stand for? Anyone? It's somewhere on the stage, yeah? It's somewhere on the stage, okay? We have a very, very kind lady here. What's your name?
Adlin.
Can you tell us where you're from?
From WWF Indonesia.
Okay, it's a pleasure to have you here anyway. What CTI-CFF stand for? You can even read it from the stage.
That's why. It stands for Coral Triangle Initiative.
Yes.
And Coral Reefs, Fisheries, and Food Security.
That's the correct answer. CTI-CFF Coral Triangle Initiative on Coral Reef, Fisheries, and Food Security. Thank you so much and congratulations. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Okay, we still have another token of appreciation? Yes, we still got time. So I will ask the next question, and it's very easy because we are here. What does MMAF stand for? Alias dalam bahasa Inggris Kementerian kita apa? Coba di sini ada 2. Boleh sweet dulu? Boleh sweet dulu? Okay. Who goes first? Who goes first? Okay, you go first. Okay, what's your name, please?
My name is Asia from
And
Coral
your-
Triangle Center.
Okay, and the answer is
The Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries.
Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. Is that correct? Is that correct? Saya tanya langsung orang dari KKP-nya. Is that correct? Okay, that's correct. Thank you so much and congratulations. Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. Okay, we still have some token of appreciation. Masih ada hadiah? Masih, kita masih mau bagi-bagi hadiah di sini ya. Okay, sudah cukup? Oh, okay. Good news, everyone. We still have so many token of appreciation that will be given to you after the panel discussion. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we start the panel discussion, if you want to have a toilet break or if you want to get a coffee, it's already being prepared outside the room. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we will now begin our panel discussion, which will explore the key milestones, partnerships, and regional effort in conserving the coral triangle. And to guide today's session, we would like to cordially invite Mr. Zaki Mubarak as our moderator today. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to Mr. Zaki Mubarak.
Good morning, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to be a moderator in this occasion. My name is Zaki Mubarak. I'm from the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. And then in this regard, I would like to invite Mr. Dr. Frank Keith Griffin, the Executive Director of CTI-CFF, to join with me on the stage. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important moment from all of us, because I heard from Pak Hanung, because this is the first time from CTI-CFF to convene like this media gathering in Jakarta. Correct me if I'm wrong, sir. And we are here, we have invited representatives from media, from national media, and this is very moment from CTI-CFF to introduce, to promote, to share the vision or the vision or visions from the CTI-CFF that should be acknowledged or understood by media in a broader sense. Without further ado, I would like to invite His Excellency Frank Keith Griffin, Pak, to share, to deliver a presentation if you have. Thank you. The floor is yours, please. Yes, please.
Hello, it's working. Yeah. Can we have the first slide up, please? Okay. Thank you very much, moderator. We're very pleased and honored to be here today. As you had in the opening remarks from Pak Hanung, and as you heard from our moderator, this is the first time that we have taken CTI out of the regional secretariat in Manado. We are extremely happy that we are based here in Manado, not very far from the heart, if you like, as the Honorable Minister said, the heart of the Coral Triangle Initiative. It's a region that is blessed with so much beauty that we will hear very shortly. Now, can I have the next slide, please? Yeah. So in terms of the history of the CTI-CFF, we've already heard from our previous speakers that 16 years ago, the then President of the Republic of Indonesia, President Yudhoyono, inspired 5 other presidents and prime ministers from around our region to come together and sign what is now known as the Leaders' Declaration. And that declaration paved the way for what is now known as the Coral Triangle Initiative to be established. Now, this initiative is the first of its kind. It is a multilateral agreement that focuses on food security through sustainable management of marine resources with a touch on climate change and the impacts of climate change on our communities. So as you can see from the photograph, the President of Indonesia is flanked by 5 other well-known personalities in our region that put pen to paper to make this a reality in the region. Next slide, please. And the reason why they did that was to garner support from each other to work together with the vision to sustainably look after or protect the most extraordinary marine and coastal resources that we have here in the Coral Triangle region. And as I've said before, it addresses crucial threats adversely impacting on our climate, on our marine resources, our marine biodiversity, and importantly also on food security in our region. Next slide, please. Now, I wanted to put this map up and give you an introduction to why it is so crucial that we protect or do the work that we do in the Coral Triangle Initiative. Now, if you look at this map is a distribution of coral reefs or the distribution of corals in the world. So the yellow color is areas where there is very little corals available, and as it gets darker and darker, going from yellow to orange to red to dark red to light brown and then finally to brown, it essentially gives an indication of how many corals are found in those regions. Now, as you can see from the map, there is a spot right in the middle that is dark, and it's dark brown. What that indicates is that in that dark brown region, the coral speciation amounts to between 550 to 600 different corals in that region. So that's the area that is referred to as the Coral Triangle Initiative or the Coral Triangle area. Next slide, please. So when we take it a bit closer, this is the triangle, or what looks like a triangle as you see in the middle of the photograph, is what is referred to as the Coral Triangle. And it is the home to the 6 countries. As you can see, at the top we got Philippines, and then Malaysia, Indonesia, Timor-Leste, Papua New Guinea, and Solomon Islands towards the eastern part of the triangle. Next slide, please. We've already had this in the minister's speech. It is the home to the highest coral reef diversity. You saw the map of the well. In this small space that we know as the Coral Triangle, it actually houses a third, almost 33% of the world's coral reef system is actually concentrated in that small area. It is significant. It is home to 75% of the world's coral reef species that can be found anywhere in the world. Nowhere else in the world can you find this type of biodiversity. It is really, really unique. And because we have over 600 different species of reef-building corals, it is also the home to almost 37% of the world's reef fish species. It is a hotspot in any man's language. It needs to be protected, and that is why we do what we do. It is also the nursery for the regional fisheries. And I have to make a qualification over here. While we benefit from the coral reef species that we have in the coral reef Coral Triangle region, it is also the breeding ground for many of the species, the pelagic species that people all around the world eats. Let me give an example. The Pacific region boasts about how much tuna stocks they have in the Pacific region. Guess where those tuna originate from? They originate from the Coral Triangle region. And as they grow older, they swim out to the Pacific region, where it's harvested for food in the Pacific region, but it is also sent out to places like Europe, to the Asia region, to Japan, to the US, and beyond. So we are the breeding ground for a delicacy that is enjoyed all around the world, and it starts here in the Coral Triangle region. It supports, as we heard from our Honorable Minister, it supports the livelihood of over 120 million people that rely on the coral reef and the natural resources that come out of it. In terms of tourism, it generates over $5.7 billion annually to support the businesses that we have in our region. And the coral reefs are a defense mechanism that allows for the protection of well over 26 million people in the protected areas in our region. So, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it is truly the most extraordinary marine environment you will find anywhere else in the world. Next slide, please. Now, to make this happen, next slide, please. Yeah. To make this work happen, the 6 leaders and their officials decided to set up the regional secretariat in Manado, here in Indonesia. In fact, I am told that when the site or the venue of the regional secretariat was being discussed, there was a lot of competition from some of the other CT6 countries, but Indonesia was the one that was awarded the right to host the regional secretariat. And even within Indonesia, there was a big competition on where it would be hosted. Whether it be hosted here in Jakarta, whether it be hosted in Bali, or whether it be hosted in Manado. And Manado won. And the reason behind it is that the leaders' declaration was actually signed in Manado, 150 meters away from the building that you see on the right-hand side of this photograph. Next slide, please. So the role or purpose of the regional secretariat is to enable collaboration that would ensure sustainable flow of benefits from marine and coastal resources to the countries, especially the current generation and future generations. But we heard from the Honorable Minister that there are challenges. There are challenges that we face, and there are challenges that we need to address. And as Pa Hanung in his speech eloquently explained, it is not only up to the governments that need to do this work. Every one of us, the media have a crucial role in making sure that the message gets out there so that it is properly represented out in the mainstream media and also everywhere else at the different levels of society that we live in. It is also addressing economic and social and ecological drivers at all scales and institutional levels to help us in living sustainably within our means and enjoying the beauty that we live within. Next slide, please. And our work is governed by the Regional Plan of Action. This is the second iteration of the Regional Plan of Action, or the RPOA 2.0. And the plan contains and reflects the responsibilities, priorities, and mandates as set out by the establishment of the CTI-CFF organization. It is not generated by the regional secretariat. It is generated by the countries. The regional secretariat is directed by the countries to implement what is contained in this document. Next slide, please. Now, this is a slide which talks about our core strategies. And the core strategies, there's 4 of them. The first one is to inform and support policy. So all the governments have policies, and the regional secretariat helps in informing and supporting those policies. The second strategy is to engage and motivate action. And as we heard from Pa Hanung in the opening remarks, the call to action is now. We really need to step up, step forward, and take the mantle and move on. The third strategy is to enhance and optimize partnership. The very fact that the media is here is already telling us that there is a partnership that is now in the process of being established between the media, the NGOs, our sister organizations who are here supporting this event, and all of us who work within the structures of the CTI-CFF. We also have a fourth strategy, which is, the Honorable Minister explained it very well, and that is on mobilizing resources and funds. For a lot of voluntary work happens, but when we want to see results, we need the resources to actually go out into the water and do what we have to do. So this slide actually captures all of that. Next slide, please. Okay, the RPOA 2.0 is divided up into 3 objectives. And the 3 objectives concentrate on different things. The objective A, as you see on the top, focuses on improved ecosystem health and fisheries. The second one is focusing on improved resilience and socio-economic cooperation. And the third one is on good governance, effective governance and partnerships. So the objectives, the strategies that I spoke about in the previous slide, I actually operationalized in this slide over here. There are lots of indicators that we have to work within for the period 2021 to 2030. And it allows us to be able to do the work that we do to help our people in this beautiful region that we live in. I'll just deviate a little bit and make mention of how the significance of the region that we live in. I read an article about 2 months ago, and it was written by a researcher in the Caribbean. And the Caribbeans have a total coral population of around 10%. 10%. And in that article, because they have 10% of the world's coral species in their waters, the researcher called it a hotspot. We have 75%, and we do not talk about it enough. So my challenge to our colleagues from the media entities in the room today is join us, help us tell this beautiful story. This is our story. We need to tell it. But we are not doing enough. Pa Hanung challenged us, step up, step forward. The work begins now. It's not about talking, it's about taking it out there and taking action. Next slide, please. Almost at the end now. As we had earlier on, the Coral Triangle Initiative is a multilateral agreement between 6 different nations, beautiful environment that we live in. The governance structure, as the minister alluded to, he is the current chair of the Council of Ministers. So the box right at the top is the Council of Ministers. That's where the decision is made. So when they say yes, it goes. When they say no, it doesn't go. So the meetings that are structured around the whole year culminate in the decision of the ministers at the top. Below them is the engine room. This is where the senior officials, so we also heard this morning about Pa Hendra being the chairman of the Indonesian NCC for the CTI-CFF. He plays a key role in taking Indonesia's information into the regional mechanism. They have those meetings regularly, and from there, the recommendations then go up to the Council of Ministers, who have to make the final decisions. Below the Committee of Senior Officials are the national coordinating committees. As we had earlier, Pa Hendra is the chairman of the National Coordinating Committee for Indonesia. There are 5 other national coordinating committees in the 5 other countries. They are supported by the regional secretariat, which I head. Okay, as I made mention of earlier on, the regional secretariat was established in Manado in 2016. The first regional executive director was an Indonesian. So if you look at the flags, they are actually arranged in alphabetical order. So we have Indonesia, Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, Philippines, Solomon Islands, Timor-Leste. And the executive directorship of the regional secretariat is rotated alphabetically. So in 2016, when the first executive director was appointed, he was an Indonesian. In fact, Pa Hendra was also an interim executive director between 2018 and 2019. So there's a bit of history there for you. When Indonesia's 10 finished, the second executive director that was appointed was from Malaysia. And that gentleman's term finished at the end of 2003. The next one is a Papua New Guinean, and I'm from Papua New Guinea. And this time it's Papua New Guinea's turn to be executive director. When my term finishes in 2028, the next executive director will be from the Philippines. The Philippines will have the executive directorship for 4 years, and then it will go over to Solomon Islands, and then eventually to Timor-Leste, and then it comes back to Indonesia again. So within the setup of the regional secretariat, we do our work through 11 different working groups. And as you can see right at the bottom, there are 5 technical working groups, 3 governance working groups, and 3 cross-cutting working groups or initiatives. So if we go to the next slide, which is the final slide, this gives you an explanation of the type of work that we do. So in the area of the technical working groups, we do work in marine protected areas. MMAF is the headquarters for marine protected areas in Indonesia. Seascape, EAFM stands for Ecological Approaches to Fisheries Management. We have to harvest our natural resources sustainably. That's what EAFM is all about. And the minister also made mention of some of the challenges that we have in that some of our species, we are harvesting them unsustainably. They get into the point where they're becoming threatened. So threatened species is a work area that we do with the countries in making sure that they recognize the threat to stop harvesting these very, very key animals or these key species that we have in our waters. And obviously, the final one is on climate change adaptation. Everything that we do is now linked to climate change nowadays. So we do work in those 5 areas technically. In the governance work area, we have the Internal Revenue Committee or Resources Committee, IRC, and they are the ones who tell us what we can do or what we cannot do, whether we have resources or we do not have resources. That's their very important role. The second one is on the Financial Resource Working Group. They're the ones who help us in going out there and looking for the resources to bring in to do our work. And the third one is, like everything else, we have to monitor and evaluate the work that we do. And then on the cross-cutting issues, we have the Women's Leadership Forum. The women folks are also part of this work that we do, very important part that they perform. The second cross-cutting issue is on Sustainable Business Forum. How do we sustainably make the work continue perpetuity? And then the last one is around science. All our decisions have to be based on good science, and this is where the university partnerships and the scientific advisory group come in. They inform all the work that we do. They inform the work of the NCCs as well as the working groups at the much higher level. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is a brief snippet or brief introduction to what we do in the Coral Triangle Initiative Regional Secretariat. We invite you to help us get the message out there. If you need more information, the staff are around here. Get their contact details and we'll be more than happy. We will be extremely happy to give you all the information that you need to make your stories up and take it out to not just Indonesia, not just within the Coral Triangle region, but to the greater part of the world that we or you communicate with your colleague, journalists and media personnel out there in the world. So with those few words, thank you so much for your attention, and I look forward to more questions from you later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Frank, for your wonderful presentation, very comprehensive. Even though I think it's quite brief, but it's very, very comprehensive. There are a lot of issues that have been raised by Pak Frank. Some important highlights are this area is acknowledged as the highest coral reef diversity. And also for the sake of fisheries, 2.8 million small-scale fisheries depends on coral triangle reefs. So we have a lot of fishermen that depend on this area. And also for the perspective of livelihood, and also tourism benefits for sure. And the last one is coastal protection and blue carbon. In this very important session, I would like to invite representatives from media to ask about the perhaps deeper knowledge or deeper understanding about the vision or missions of Coral Triangle Initiative. Without further ado, I'd like to invite from this side, perhaps, to ask about anything from the media, from the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, perhaps, if you want to ask about CTI-CFF. Okay, Pa Frank, I would like to. Oh yes, please. Please introduce yourself, your name, and then the institution you are from.
Pakai bahasa Indonesia ya Pak ya. Selamat siang untuk Bapak-Bapak yang di depan. Saya Ambari Pak dari Mongabai. Mungkin dua pertanyaan yang ingin saya pertanyakan. Yang pertama itu secara general ya Pak. Informasi yang tadi disampaikan ini tuh untuk CTI-CFF ini kan 16 tahun sudah berdiri ya Pak, berkantor pusat di Manado. Sejauh ini ada segitiga karang dunia di 6 negara. Mungkin bisa dijabarkan oleh narasumber sebenarnya apa sih yang menjadi kendala dan perlu diperbaiki untuk tata kelola terumbu karang, khususnya di segitiga karang ini kan ini bagian dari konservasi penting di dunia. Terus yang kedua ini berkaitan dengan program pemerintah Indonesia yang pengalihan utang untuk konservasi terumbu karang. Tadi juga sudah sempat disinggung ya. Ini sebenarnya kan baru pertama kali berjalan di Indonesia Pak, dengan pemerintah Amerika Serikat. Ini seperti apa programnya? Sudah berjalan tentunya Pak ya. Kalau ini sudah sah ditetapkan. Cuma maksud saya sejauh mana perkembangannya dan ini kontribusi untuk konservasi terumbu karang khususnya segitiga karang dunia ini seperti apa? Karena waktu itu saya pernah dapat informasi kawasan yang dikonservasi dari pengalihan utang ini sebagian besar di Indonesia Timur ya Pak. Which is ini adalah bagian dari segitiga karang dunia. Ya mungkin itu saja Pak, terima kasih.
Okay Pak, should I translate it? If not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong because it's a little bit unclear in some parts. First question is what should CTI do with regard to the coral reefs? There are some perhaps homeworks, right? And then perhaps gaps that exist, and then what's the next plan? What's the projection? What is the next steps for CTI-CFF if you find any difficulties on the ground? So for the second question, if not mistaken, is it related to depth swap nature? Yep. So if you have some understanding on it, please feel free, but if you don't, we have actually source person here, Pak Firdaus.
Yes.
Feel free if you want to add some comments on it, Pak Firdaus.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah.
Pak Frank.
Thank you very much. The reef system that we have in the Coral Triangle area is unique. You don't find that type of coral reef system anywhere else in the world. As I said in my presentation, this small triangle that we live in is home to 33% of the world's coral reef system. That's a really good figure that we want to promote. However, we do not discard the evidence that's on the ground. And what I'm talking about is that there are some unsustainable fishing practices that happen in our region. For example, some of our people prefer to go and harvest fish by using bombs, dynamites. So they go and blow up the reef so that they can access the fish. The problem with that type of method is that once you destroy the habitat or the place where the fish live, you won't find any more fish in that area. The fish go away. They go and live somewhere else. So the local fishermen from that area, if they want to catch some more fish, they have to go further out. And the further they go out into the ocean, the more dangerous it becomes. So the job that we are doing with the countries is to get education out there, get projects out there to help local fishermen to fully understand that there are consequences of their actions. So when they go out and do fishing, they go and do fishing in a way that they do not destroy the habitat or the place where fish reside. In that way, you can get a fish for today, and next week you come back again, you get another fish. Next year you come back, you get another fish in that same spot. But when you destroy it, you come back to that same place, you don't find any fish because the fish do not live there anymore. So the work that we are doing is actually helping countries get to understand how, especially the fishermen and the local communities that live along the coast, that we have to look after. It's like our supermarket, huh? It's like our supermarket. We look after our supermarket so that the next time we want food, we go to the supermarket and get the fish again. So that's the angle from which our work is structured. On the debt swap, the bit that I am familiar with is that it's an arrangement between two countries. So say, for example, if country A owes money to country B, you can have an arrangement where the debt swap, in this case, the debt swap is for conservation. The debt swap essentially means that the country that is owed money, country B, can tell country A that the debt that you owe us, if you owe me $10, you don't give me the $10 because that $10 belongs to me, but I want you to take the $10 and then invest it into conservation practices in your own country. So that's how the debt swap, in a very broad sense, that's how the debt swap system works. But I'll defer to the expert sitting over there to give a more elaborate answer and much better explained in Bahasa.
Very simple but powerful explanation, Pak Frank. Pak Firda, would you like to add something?
Yes, thank you very much, Pak Zaki, Pak Frank. The swap is between the Indonesian government and US government, and because it will be implemented within the eastern part of Indonesia, which means almost 1/3 of the coral reef in the CTI. So everything happened in that area, the successful and good implementation of the swap will influence and will strengthen the coral reef within the CTI. That's the main idea. And what is the stage now? We are still on the preparation of a strategic plan, and then preparation of the grant disbursement, and also completing any administration that required to run the program. Thank you, Pak Zaki.
Thank you, Pak Director Firdaus. All right. Is there any next question from audience?
It must have been a very good presentation.
Please, Pak. Name and institution, please. Bahasa Indonesia bisa Pak, disampaikan.
Ya, terima kasih waktunya. Saya Arifin dari Indonesia Maritime News. Kami kemarin DKP ada expose tentang illegal fishing. Salah satunya disinggung tentang masih adanya nelayan yang menangkap ikan itu dengan bom, itu di daerah Sulawesi. Berkaitan ini kami mau nanya, sejauh mana peran dari lembaga ini, berapa persen sudah survei bisa mengurangi pengetahuan lain itu untuk melakukan yang sama. Karena tujuannya untuk memberi pengetahuan kepada masyarakat. Tapi kami ingin tahu surveinya sudah dilakukan. Berapa besar persentasinya masyarakat di Sulawesi khususnya yang melakukan penangkapan dengan bom itu bisa berkurang. Dan terumbu karang tidak rusak di sana. Nah, itu aja Pak yang mau kami ingin tahu. Terima kasih.
Very important and very interesting, also straight to the point, Pak. So if not mistaken, the question is about how many percentage, approximately perhaps, the role, how many percentage decrease for the illegal fishing, in particular in Sulawesi area, with regard to the raising awareness. One of the important duties of the CTI-CFF is raising awareness. So is there any, data or information? How many percentage approximately decrease for the small-scale fishermen doing illegal fishing in that area?
The answer to the question is we are not fully on top of that percentage as yet. The full numbers we do not know. But work is happening with the countries because for us to be able to make presentations like what I'm doing today, we have to get the information from the countries. So the IUU issue that the gentleman is asking about, that IUU is illegal, unreported, unregulated fisheries. That is something that we do have a small group working on that, but in terms of the reports that we are getting, that percentage is not very clear. When you are talking about just a localized area, there are educational programs that we have actually started working with other countries. So once the results of those activities come back to us, we then share it with all the other 5 countries to make sure that everybody uses those same methodologies to go out there and do awareness work, educational work, so that the impact of that effort is that in the long run, illegal fishing or unregulated fishing, unreported illegal fishing, the percentage will come down. But at this point in time, the direct answer to your question is that we do not have that figure in our system. The other issue that I want to also make mention of is that there are also other projects that are happening in the region. So CTI-CFF works very closely with other groups in the region. For example, CIFDEC, it's another project, regional project in our region, in the Asian region, and they specialize on IUU. So by working closely with them, we are able to then bring together all that data to show the impact or the result of our individual efforts as well as our collective efforts. So it's still a long way out, but we are beginning to see some results on making sure that the educational or promotional work that the CTI and other sister agencies in the region are doing is helping to bring this or mitigate the impacts of IUU in our region. Sorry, I cannot give you a figure, but that is still work in progress.
Thank you, Pak Frank. Is there any other questions from audience? Yes, please.
Oke, selamat siang Bapak. Saya Martia dari CNBC Indonesia. Izin mau tanya.
From where?
CNBC Indonesia.
CNBC Indonesia.
Oke. Ini kan isu climate change kan ramai dibicarakan gitu ya Pak, dan koral juga mungkin akan terdampak dengan climate change ini. Nah mungkin antisipasinya seperti apa sih Pak untuk climate change dan mungkin potensi kerugian jika memang koral ini tidak dijaga gitu Pak, terkait hal itu, potensi kerugiannya ini kira-kira berapa gitu, dan mungkin kalau memang climate change ini bisa diantisipasi dengan baik, apa sih yang bisa didapatkan gitu Pak dari koral tersebut? Terima kasih Pak.
There is another burning question. Pak, if I understand correctly, is there any precautionary measures to prevent the impact of climate change towards corals? Then, what is the, I think that is the most important question first, Pak. Please.
Okay. Yeah, we are at the mercy of the global mechanism. So essentially what I'm saying over here is that the impact of climate change, we are at the front line of receiving that impact. We may not necessarily be putting the gases out into the atmosphere that causes climate change, that causes temperature rise, because the impact on the corals comes about as a result of sea temperature change. And the sea temperature change is a very complicated system that relates to gases being put out into the atmosphere by very big industrialized countries. So at the local level, we have to live with the impact. So in terms of what can be done, the whole world has to come together and work as one to reduce the gases that we put out into the atmosphere. That will eventually become a system that allows for temperatures to be maintained, or in the best case scenario, reverse the global temperature, so that the sea temperature can also be reduced. The corals breathe a lot more easier. But what we are experiencing now is that quite recently we've had the 4th episode of coral bleaching. So coral bleaching comes about because of sea temperature change on the coral species. And in some reports, some commentators make the mistake of saying that the coral has died. The coral doesn't die. The coral just moves away from an area where they feel uncomfortable. They move away. But the skeleton that we see left behind can easily regenerate using other species of reef making corals that can regenerate itself again. We've had reports from Nusa Penida area where there was, many years ago, there was coral bleaching that happened, and then after about 15, 20 years, the coral came back again. So there are episodes where you have a sudden change, or like in a very short period of time, temperature rises, the coral seems to disappear from that area, but as time goes on and the place becomes much more settled again, the coral species comes back again. But the great thing about our region is that because we have this huge amount of different species of corals, the diversity that we have in our region becomes its strength. So there are some species that are easily affected by a small change in sea temperature, and they disappear. But there are other species that remain resilient to the change in temperature. So, but in some parts of the world, because they have a small number of coral species in that reef system, when all of them are affected by a small rise in temperature, the whole reef system is affected. But in our case, because we got a huge diversity of corals, some are affected easily, some are not affected as easy as the other one. So even when coral bleaching happens, it's not 100% or it's not 90%, it may be 60%, it may be 40%, depending on the resilient species that we have in our reef system.
Alright, apakah itu sudah menjawab, Bu? Apakah ada pertanyaan lain? Cukup ya. Baik. Any other questions? Yes, please. Name and institution. Please, Pak.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. My name is Gregory. I'm from Papua New Guinea Embassy. Firstly, I would like to commend Dr. Griffin for this very comprehensive and detailed presentation, eloquently articulated. Thank you very much. Okay, secondly, I would like to not ask a question, but a comment. Firstly, I would like to share my own personal experience about promoting what we call sustainable fisheries in Papua New Guinea. Okay, we normally conduct what we call thorough 3D awareness visit. In this awareness visit, we go out to local villages between the borders of Australia and Papua New Guinea in Western Province. And in that awareness visit, we educate the local communities about sustainable fisheries. Because one of the methods they use is dynamite fishing. Dynamite is very dangerous and destructive. So what we do, we go out and educate them to use different methods of fishing so that they can protect the marine resources. And this is what I believe CTI should do to come up with plans and arrangement and use the resources there to go out and promote through awareness and information sharing so that we can educate our local communities within the CTI countries to promote and protect endangered species and also to protect our own marine environment through sustainable fisheries. So I believe CTI have the plans in place to promote sustainable fisheries within the region. So I would like to say that we need partnership and cooperation to promote this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The Papua New Guinea National Coordinating Committee for CTI has got those programs in their work plan as well. So the work that we do at the regional level in collaboration with the national entities like SEPA in PNG, or like in the Solomon Islands, it will be the Ministry of Fisheries. Those programs are embedded in the work that they do to make sure that, as I said, one of the objectives of the reason why CTI as a group was established is to make sure that we sustainably harvest our blue natural capital or resources so that we have food now, and when our children become adults, they have food, and when their children become adults, they still have food. So it's about making sure that those mechanisms are put in place, and as you said, it's about sustainable harvesting of the marine resources. And it's not only fish, it's all the other things that go with it, like crayfish and prawns and all the different delicacies we have in our system, which are plentiful because of the biodiversity that we have in our region. Thank you.
Thank you. Ibu yang baju putih, silakan.
Ya, selamat. Saya Maria dari iNews. Sebenarnya saya sih berharap tadi di sini ada komunitas nelayan ya, karena kalau menurut saya program ini sangat berkaitan dengan nelayan kita. Tapi nggak apa-apa, mungkin bapak-bapak yang di depan punya datanya. Pertanyaan saya, ini kan sudah 16 tahun berjalan ya, CTI-CFF. Dampaknya sudah seperti apa kepada nelayan kita, komunitas nelayan kita, dan berapa persen terumbu karang kita yang sekarang pulih dari kondisi, dari kerusakan yang sebelumnya. Kemudian untuk nelayan kita, apakah ini sudah berdampak pada kesejahteraan mereka? Misalnya dari tingkat kemiskinannya dulu berapa persen, setelah 16 tahun berjalan, berapa persen peningkatan kesejahteraan dari nelayan kita di Indonesia dan juga secara umum di 6 negara ini? Terima kasih.
All right, there are two questions, if I'm not mistaken. First is with regard to the impact to the, yang tadi yang pertama Bu? Yeah, with regard to the coral reefs. It has been like 16 years since its establishment. So to what extent, like the impact that they very keen on data, Pak. Because they are journalists. They are very keen on data. If you have any data and information, is there any percentage after its long establishment? That's the first question. The second question is there any, what is it? Secondly, what like, again, impact after, since it is establishment, with regard to the, such as the prosperity of the fishermen? Please.
Yeah, thank you. On the issue of, I think the question is more about whether we have improved the management of the reef systems. Would I be correct in assuming that that's the question? If that's the case, what we have done in the last 16 years, there have been programs put in place for governments and communities to come together, to work together in making sure that the reef systems are actually managed properly. They're sustainably used for harvesting of the natural resources for our own sustenance. But in terms of the health of the coral reefs itself, as I made mention earlier on, there have been episodes of coral bleaching that have happened over the last 16 years that have impacted on the health of the coral reefs itself. The other issue that we have challenges with, and that was highlighted in the minister's presentation as well, is on unsustainable fishing methodologies. Say, for example, if you're using poison or if you're using bombs, and it's not only in Indonesia, it's in the 6 countries. We do have reports of, in fact, I have an email, I just received an email this week about an incident in the eastern part of Indonesia where bomb fishing, they call it bomb fishing, where bombs are used to actually harvest the fish. It's not only harvesting the fish, but the destruction of the reef system. So once those sort of things are reported, we have to come back to the government, and then with the government put together a program on attending to the incident that is happening in the eastern part of Indonesia. So by way of answering your question, each individual country has an annual report that they provide to the Secretariat on what is happening. While those reports are quite elaborate, they're not comprehensive. So there are pockets of areas within our region where the actual state of the reef is not fully sort of clearly identified to show what type of health it is in. But at the global level, we do contribute to what is referred to as the state of coral reef in the world. So we are in the Southeast Asia region. Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea are not in the Southeast Asia region, they're in the Pacific region. So their reports would appear in 2 different reports. So that report actually has a much better data set on the type of, or the percentage of reef systems that are in a healthy state or in a deteriorated state. So that's something that we can actually work together in providing that data. Sorry, the second.
With regard to is there any, since its establishment, is there any impact to the prosperity of the fishermen.
Okay.
In particular, like Indonesia and also the other countries, the other 6 members.
Yeah, there have been success stories where we have worked closely with other NGOs, and we've gone down to the community level and do awareness raising, education on how to sustainably harvest the natural resources that we have in our region. But more importantly, and quite recently, we have been going out there with a business model. So the business model is, if we can be able to invest in a certain area of the reef, encouraging the communities not to destroy the reef, but we also put in their business plans on how to harvest the fish or the prawns or the crayfish or the beach dimmer, and then turn that into a business plan so that you can actually sell that product and make money for yourself, improve the welfare of the community that we are living in. So off the top of my head, the impact on improving the welfare of the fishermen, that is something that has really come into play in the last 3 or 4 years. So at this point in time, there is no success story that we can draw from, but collectively as a region, the awareness of how to protect or the importance of protecting the reef system is a key message that has gone out slowly gone out. And as I said earlier on, the media, have an important role to play in helping us getting that information out to the communities, making sure that they do play their part in making sure that the natural resources are harvested in a sustainable way.
Thank you for the explanation. Any other questions? Yeah, at the back. Okay, no more question. But I think we have a lot of information, not particularly from Pak Frank, and I think from even for myself, for myself, I have a lot of insights from you and also from the other colleagues here. And again, we would like to extend our gratitude to Pak Frank, the minister also. Our minister has conveyed very strong message, Pak, as part of this organization, in which we have 5 programs of blue economy. And hopefully the main message is how to collaborate, how to strengthen each other. The programs that CTI-CFF has with the blue economy program that we are endorsing right now. I think that's the homework that we should do at the future to come. Pak Frank.
Sorry, if I can add, I paid particular attention to when the minister was making his presentation. There was a slide on the vision of the president. He put up a slide that captured the vision of the president. That is our direction. So what the president has got in his vision, that's the vision of the government. So let us join hands, as we've been encouraged by our moderator. Let us join hands and make the president's vision become a reality in Indonesia. Our job is to take that vision and make it become a reality in the CT6 region. So, we will play our part in promoting the Indonesian vision, but we have to also harmonize it with the other 5 countries in making sure that we all speak in the same language. And we need your help in promoting that message.
Yes, perfect. Also, we have representatives from different institutions here, not only from the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's give big applause to Pak Frank. for wonderful presentation and also information. Okay, I think we can conclude our session right now, Pak. Please.
Okay, once again, let's give a big round of applause to our panelists and moderator. Thank you so much, Dr. Frankie Griffin and our moderator, Mr. Zaki Mubarak. Gentlemen, please remain on the stage as we'd like to officially launch the CTI-CFF 2024 annual report. And we'd like to cordially invite Director of Ecosystem Conservation, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Firdaus Agung, to please join us on stage. On this special occasion, Dr. Frankie Griffin, Executive Director of the CTI-CFF Regional Secretariat, will present or hand over the annual report of CTI-CFF 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for this very, very special occasion. Wonderful, thank you so much Mr. Zaki. You can join us for the photo session along with all the gentlemen. Kita berfoto bersama terlebih dahulu, bapak-bapak boleh merapat ke tengah. Please remain on the stage. Dr. Griffin, we're gonna have a photo session with our moderator and Mr. Firdaus Agung. Okay, Dr. Griffin in the middle. Please give your biggest smile. Okay, move a bit to the center, and after this, we'd like to also invite all the distinguished guests to join us for the photo session. We'd like to cordially invite His Excellency Ambassador of Papua New Guinea, Mr. Simon Namis. We'd like to invite the Secretary General, Director Generals, Head of Agencies, Senior Advisors of the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, distinguished representative of the Series 6 countries in Jakarta. We'd like to also invite Mr. Hanung Cahyono, Deputy Executive Director of Corporate Services CTI-CFF Regional Secretariat. We'd like to invite all the representatives from partner organizations, NGOs, and donor agencies. Please join us on stage, His Excellency. And we'd like to also invite all the media friends to please come on stage and join us for the photo session. Boleh kami mengundang seluruh rekan-rekan media, tamu undangan yang sudah meluangkan waktunya hari ini. Kami persilakan untuk bisa maju ke depan. Silakan untuk rekan-rekan media kita bergabung berfoto bersama di depan. Ya, di momen yang sangat spesial, we'd like to invite all the guests to join us on stage for the photo opportunity. Once again, we'd like to invite representative of media, representative from partner organizations, NGOs, and donor agencies to please join us on stage. Kami akan mengatur posisi berdiri, bisa di area depan panggung dan juga di atas panggung. Boleh rekan-rekan media silakan langsung saja bergabung di sebelah sini. Ya, Bapak Ibu yang masih ada di tempat duduk, boleh seluruh tamu undangan kita akan berfoto bersama. Please take your position on stage or in front of the stage. Masih ada tempat di atas stage, jadi boleh silakan bergabung, kita akan berfoto bersama. Please take your place in the middle. Ya. Baik, masih ada tempat juga di atas untuk Bapak Ibu yang masih ada di kursi. We're gonna invite everyone from CTI-CFF to join us for a photo opportunity. Once again, we'd like to invite all of you, ladies and gentlemen, to please join us on stage. Masih kita tunggu untuk seluruh Bapak Ibu tamu undangan. Keluarga besar dari KKP, boleh silakan bergabung bersama. Yang masih ada di tempat duduk, Bapak silakan Pak bergabung Pak. Bapak Ibu sekalian. Oke. Bapak izin ikut bergabung? Ya, silakan kami mengundang semua tamu undangan yang hadir di sini untuk bisa berfoto bersama. We're gonna have a group photo together on this very very special occasion. Oke, ada yang ditunggu lagi? Sudah cukup? Are you ready? Please give your biggest smile. In 3, 2, 1, cheers! Okay, show your fist, everyone. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, cheers. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's give a big round of applause once again for the Media Gathering 16th anniversary of CTI-CFF and Coral Triangle Day 2025. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Now you can proceed back to your seat. Kami persilakan untuk bisa kembali ke tempat duduk Anda masing-masing. Dan tentunya di hari yang luar biasa ini masih dalam rangkaian acara 16th anniversary of CTI-CFF and Coral Triangle Day 2025. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much once again for joining the group photo session. We truly appreciate your participation and capturing this beautiful moment as part of this event. And we will now proceed with brief doorstop interview for members of the media. This will take place just off stage with the following speakers: the Executive Director of the CTI-CFF Regional Secretariat and the Deputy Executive Director for Corporate Services of the CTI-CFF. Jadi sesaat lagi kami persilahkan kepada rekan-rekan media untuk bisa menuju ke arah luar, di mana akan ada doorstop interview bersama dengan the Executive Director of the CTI-CFF Regional Secretariat and the Deputy Executive Director for Corporate Services of the CTI-CFF. Sekali lagi untuk rekan-rekan media, kami persilakan untuk menuju ke area doorstop interview. To media colleagues, we kindly invite you all to approach the designated area. And for all the other guests, we welcome you to stay and enjoy our networking lunch, which will be served very shortly. Please feel free to continue your conversations and connections as we celebrate this milestone together. Dan sebelum menutup, saya ingin mengingatkan kepada seluruh tamu undangan untuk bisa berpartisipasi, mengupload atau mengunggah kegiatan hari ini, baik dalam bentuk foto, video, moments, atau maybe messages tentang acara hari ini dengan hashtag Coral Triangle Day 2025, hashtag One Triangle Infinite Beauty, hashtag CTI-CFF, and don't forget to tag us at CTI-CFF. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to share photos, videos, moments of today's event to social media. And do not forget to mention and tag us at CTI-CFF with the hashtag Coral Triangle Day 2025, hashtag CTI-CFF, and hashtag One Triangle Infinite Beauty. Once again, thank you so much everyone for being here with us today. My name is Siti Octaviani, signing out. Thank you so much and see you again in the other event. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Santi, Santi, Santi Om, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Indonesia stores abundant potential of marine and fisheries resources. The future generations depends on our commitment in protecting the oceans. The Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of Indonesia strives forward to implement the blue economy principles. The first strategy is the expansion of marine protected areas. The second strategy is quota-based fishing to maintain sustainability and promote responsible fishing practices. The third strategy is the development of sustainable aquaculture to fulfill the protein needs and export demands. The fourth strategy is surveillance and controls on coastal and small island areas to prevent ecological damage. The last strategy is the cleanup of marine plastic pollutions through fisher participations. Let's implement the blue economy collectively to ensure ocean sustainability and beyond. Sail beyond with blue economy.